It's not the camera's fault.
Welcome to the Bringing You Home podcast. We're a group of mortgage professionals with no fame and no egos. We do, however, bring 55 plus years of combined mortgage experience and a strong desire to help everyone reach the American dream of a home ownership. All of this while having fun, keeping it simple, and most importantly, bringing you home.
Jen,
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you,
I'm
but
here.
it completely looks like we're in two completely different studios.
Does it? Oh my gosh.
Right?
It looks
If you're
so
looking-
bad.
What the heck? I don't understand why.
You look like you have almost a green screen. Well, black
Do I?
screen.
But you know
Yeah,
what?
and it's like
I want the
white.
audience to know that we're not. Oh, you couldn't see that.
But you missed me.
There you go.
Don't throw pens
We're-
at me.
Everybody, episode 9, I believe.
10.
Episode 10 of the Bringing You Home podcast. And we are in the same studio.
Yes.
Does not matter that she looks like she's in full light and I look like I'm in a dungeon.
I just always look amazing.
Oh, there you
honestly.
go. Well, of course. Anyhow, hey, we're so glad to have everybody listening to us today as we embark on episode 10 of the Bring You Home podcast. Woo woo. Just as a friendly reminder or as a notice, next week we will be doing a wrap up of season 1,
Yay.
correct? Or quarter 1. That's awesome.
This
Hit one.
came and went so fast.
Right, there you go. So episode it won't be episode 11 because Jen does not like odd numbers, but
I
it'll
don't.
just be the
Fun
wrap up episode.
Yep.
And we're gonna have a cast of characters join us, right? A lot of the voices that you've heard throughout will be joined. I don't know. They don't know as of yet.
But they
that
will.
They're going to be on the podcast, but they will. But we're looking forward to kind of putting a bow on the first season. And then we will, we've been getting some feedback, so we will adjust what we're looking to do for the next season.
Mhm.
It might include some, I don't know, costumes. I have no idea, but we'll figure something out to make this a little
Some
bit.
new segments.
Because when I checked yesterday, we were only at 11 subscribers still
Oh, on YouTube.
on YouTube. So we got to get that up a little bit because otherwise I can't get paid.
Yeah.
All right.
I have
I'm just
nothing to
saying.
say. Is that true?
It is true, right? I think I need like 1,000 subscribers in order to get paid.
I don't want to say. Never
Okay.
mind. Never mind.
Don't say anything
No,
because
I'm not gonna say anything.
nothing you say is nice today.
That's true.
Anyhow, let's get going, Jen.
The market update.
Before we go to the market update,
Oh, you're not ready for that?
I just got notification from Sneakers app that the sneakers that I want are going on sale
When?
right now. But I can't go on there because we're doing the market update. So
you're gonna miss
I
out on the
am.
shoes. Ah,
Just for you.
that
Anyhow,
sucks.
I was reading the World Wide Web. Is that what we call it nowadays? Or the net?
The net.
The World Wide Web.
Internet.
I was on dial-up, and
I don't know actually.
and I was reading the following, and I wanted to share. U.S. new home sales retreat in September, partially reversing surprising gains in August. What does that mean?
Prices went down.
Prices are going down, right? Prices are going down. But here's the next headline. U.S. home prices fall for second straight month in August. That's the same headline, right? Actually, sales and prices. So it's
Ah,
right. So there's less
the-
sales and
and
prices are
are
going down.
going down
Right.
also.
So what does that mean?
It's a buyer's market.
Yeah, it's the buyer's
It's a
market.
great
It's
time to buy.
Um,
That's like your favorite line.
It is. I just firmly believe that it's always a great time to buy a home.
You and everyone else that has been on this podcast, and I think next week we'll
Put
be
a bow
able-
on it?
Yes.
Yes. Right.
Yep.
But yeah, prices are going, but don't get crazy, everybody. Don't start saying, hey, I'm gonna hold off to buy because houses are gonna go down 10%. That's not true. It's a slight decrease.
Right.
I mean,
I was gonna say.
percentages, yeah. So it's not a big decrease, but what is helping is that sellers are now willing to contribute
Right.
By giving you a seller credit.
Yes.
And that's going to help us segue into what we're going to talk about today is buying points.
Yep.
To buy a home.
Discount points.
Yeah, and that's an important part of the market right now because the rates have been increasingly going up, and really the only way to get them down is to buy them down, and that requires the borrower, the seller, or sometimes the lender, paying some, helping out with the points or decreasing their points. It doesn't really happen on the lender side very often, but if ever. However, the seller can assist, right? And it depends on the programs, but there is a threshold. But they can help. They can assist with 3 to 6%. That could go towards closing costs or points,
Or the
right?
points, right?
So let's go back. Points are in essence a closing cost,
Right.
but they're associated with rate.
With the rate, yes.
Yeah. Sometimes consumers and even some real estate agents believe that we, as the lender, are keeping those points for ourselves, right? Wouldn't that be nice though if I could keep those points to myself?
I mean,
right? I would
especially right now.
Yeah. But that doesn't work that way, right? So we sell our loans, we sell our loans to investors, right?
Right.
And investors are the ones who are setting those rates. If you're getting a conventional loan, it's either Fannie or Freddie Mac that sets the rate and the cost for those. FHA sets the rate or HUD sets the rate. Ginnie Mae sets the rate for, yeah, right. I'm all over the place. Ginnie Mae sets the rate for FHA.
FHA, yeah.
Okay. Now there's a cost of funds, right? A cost of money. And then every bank has different margins, right? So like anything else, right? The bank, meaning us, direct lender, in this case, we're trying to make money, right?
Right.
We make money in terms of lender's fees, which is your underwriting and your processing fee.
That's also part of the closing cost.
That's also part of the closing cost. Typically, a lender's fees will vary anywhere from like $1,000 to $1,500, right? So it's not a significant difference.
Right.
The points associated with each rate, right, also differ by lender. And, again, it's a matter of margins. Some lenders are trying to make more,
right.
Some are trying to make less. And so you can shop around for that, but for the most part, they're generally right around the same.
Same.
Right. It might differ a tad bit here and there. But all that, background to talk about points, right? Yesterday, I quoted, well, I can't really quote rates, but then I'd have to provide an APR, which is a whole different rate. But there was an associated rate, and that rate had, an associated discount points to it. And let's just say, for argument's sake, it could have been anywhere from 3 to 4 points.
Yeah.
Right. A point equals 1% of the loan amount.
I was going to say.
Right. So if you have a $400,000 loan amount, 1 point is $4,000.
So then it's $4,000 that gets added onto your closing costs.
Correct. So it's $4,000 that gets added to your closing costs
for that rate,
for that particular rate, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So then you have to do a cost benefit analysis, or hopefully your lender or your loan officer, hopefully one of ours, will walk you through whether it makes sense to pay down or to buy down the rate, paying points or not. So typically for me as a loan officer, I will always ask my borrower, how long do you plan on staying in the house? Right? Is this your forever home? Is this just a transitional home till your kids leave? And I ask questions like that because then I find out, okay, if I buy down the rate.
Buy down meaning what?
I pay those points.
Okay.
Okay. So
the buyer pays those points.
Yeah. So let's say 6%, right?
Yeah.
In general terms, 6%. I'm not quoting rates, just in general terms.
Right.
And 6% is costing 1 point.
Right.
Right. And 6.25% is costing 0 points, or what we call par.
Right.
Then I would find out the difference between the 6 and 6.25. Right. So let's say it's a $45 difference. And then I would divide that by that $4,000 which is costing me to get down to that 6% rate.
Mhm.
And if it takes more than 2 years, I typically will tell a borrower not to do it
And you mean $45 in the payment
in the
difference,
payment,
right?
right? So
Okay.
you calculate the payment difference and divide it by the cost
The
of
cost
those
of the
of
rate.
that point, right? And then you make a decision. So if a house is if it's gonna take me 6 years to recuperate that point, would you consider that a good investment?
Well, that goes back to your long-term home, your forever home, or a transitional home, right?
Correct, right?
Because if it's you're gonna move out in 2 years, then there's no point.
There's no point.
But if it's your forever home,
I would still say no.
yeah,
Right?
it's a little bit much.
Yeah. And the reason why, and again, my threshold as an advisor is 2 years. The reason why I say that is because anything longer than that, I could utilize that money for
Right.
different things, right? I could have utilized it for an investment. I could have utilized it to make more money, or just a necessity of having it, right?
Right.
A $45 difference is not I don't want to say for everybody, but for most, it's not a huge difference, right? It might be the difference between 5 Starbucks and not having a Starbucks,
Starbucks
right?
at
I
home,
mean,
right.
literally, that
Yeah.
might be what it is, right? So, or eating in the office as opposed to me
Going
goes
out every single
every
day.
single day, right?
Right. Yeah,
So
you spend $45 in one day.
probably,
Yeah.
so it, so you got to kind of do that analysis and if it makes sense. But historically, for example, a Hispanic family would typically refinance their house between 5 and 6 years, and a Caucasian family would refinance their house between 7 and 8 years.
Oh,
And even if you take the history out of it, right? Most people will refinance their house at some point,
right.
right? And particularly in this market, because rates are already high.
Right.
So what I am telling my borrowers or my prospective borrowers is, don't pay the rate, don't pay the discount points to buy down that rate, because you're going to refinance this house in 12 months anyhow,
Yeah.
right?
Anyway, right.
So why outlay that extra money? Maybe better try to be responsible, put the money away in the bank, and then take that extra money that you're saving and you would have put in the points, and utilize that for your payment, right?
Yeah.
So in my opinion, today is not the best time to buy points,
Points.
but there are other times where it makes sense,
Right.
right? So 4 years ago, or not even that, 2 years ago, right, when rates were 3.5, 3.25, and you could have paid down, 2 points and gotten down to 2.5, for example, I would have said do it all day long, because once you're at 2.5, now you're never going to
Now
touch
you're,
your
yeah,
rate,
you're
right?
never going to.
Yeah, there's no point. The only
The
time,
rate, yeah,
yeah, right.
to refinance would be
Yeah, it
silly.
doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
So, now, the lower the interest rates, even if you drop a full interest rate, the savings and payment is much smaller.
Yeah.
You see the bigger savings at the higher interest rates.
Hmm.
All right, but
That's good to know.
so again, discount points is, I guess, a very fluid situation. I would recommend speaking with your mortgage advisor and really kind of doing some math and seeing, does it make sense for me to do it? Does it not make sense for me to do it? It's not a blanket yes, pay the rates, right?
Right.
And sometimes, I mean, we used a very generic 0 points and 1 point. But the fact is that a lot of interest rates have like 0.75%, 0.5%, 0.25%, 0.3%. So it just depends on, what rate and what makes sense. It might make sense to pay, it's been weird. Like sometimes you see, hey, you can get 5.5%, percent at a point,
Yeah.
and you can get 5.625, which is just 1/8% higher, at like a 1/4 point, and
So
then
it's
6.25 at par. Well, pay the 1/4 point and get to
right.
5.65, right?
Yeah.
Because a 1/4 point of 400,000 is $1,000,
Right.
but the spread is much bigger. So, so again, I think my advice to a prospective homeowner or somebody who's looking to refinance and they're talking about points is, hey, talk to your mortgage advisor, really do some
Definitely.
math, and really know what you're trying to accomplish by decreasing that rate. I think that's the most important part. And it's crazy. Like had a realtor today, for example, that sent me a rate and said, "Hey, this person's advertising 3.375," and I said, "Yeah, read the fine print, right?"
And what did it
Sent
say?
me, and it said, "Yeah, it's your first year's 3.375.
Oh,
That's your start rate, and
yeah.
then in 2 years it's 5.375." And so really what they're doing is what's called a 2-1 buy down.
Yes.
That doesn't require points, but that's a whole different
Yeah.
ballgame, right? And again, that seems to be a pretty popular program in the marketplace right now.
Right now.
But again, it's not for everybody.
But I also seen a lot of sellers giving credits for the points. A lot of sellers. So if you can find that seller that's willing to help you, why not?
So yeah, why not? But here's the thing, right? Doesn't necessarily mean you want to put it towards your points, right? Because you
Right.
can use that seller credit to offset your
The
costs.
closing costs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if a seller is willing to pay 3 points, that's going to offset most of your closing costs. So at that point, why not offset your closing
Closing
costs, take a
costs.
higher rate?
And you pay for the rate.
Yeah, just pay
Right.
for the rate or take the higher rate
Or
because you're
maybe
going to
you can
refinance it anyway.
Yeah, that's true. There's
Right.
so many options out there. But like you said, just talk to your mortgage professional.
Correct. And rates are dependent on credit score.
A lot of factors.
Yeah, credit score, loan to value. They're dependent on program, right? So
Yeah.
we saw one yesterday where the credit score wasn't that hot.
Oh, yeah.
And the cost for that was
story.
super high, right?
Yeah.
But luckily the seller in that case was paying 6 points, right? And so that offset all of that, which is good because the buyer didn't have to pay.
Yeah.
So again, I think more importantly, talk to your mortgage advisor. Points are going to be good in some cases. Points are not going to be good in some cases. Paying, that is. I think it's a fluid situation, like everything in terms of home loans, right? Some programs are good for one borrower. Some programs are not good for one
Right.
borrower. Some programs, down payment assistance sounds like a panacea. Sounds like utopia. But sometimes those aren't the best programs.
It's not, right.
Right. So we just have to continue to have these conversations, and hopefully your mortgage advisor is really sitting down, listening to you. I think that's why, it's important to speak to somebody, because our industry is trending towards more of an AI type of industry. A lot of stuff is online. I'm guilty of it as well on occasions where I just send out an application online or my link to my application online, and then I don't have that face to face with the customer, and I don't really know their story.
Yeah.
And then I have to go back and catch myself and learn their story. But the good mortgage advisor is going to take the time to hear your story and then set you on the right path based on that story. So just word to the wise, if you're out there looking for a home, you're trying to get pre-qualified, look for a lender that's willing to spend a little bit of time with you, right?
Yeah.
And as a lender, you don't get paid, right? We don't get paid unless we close the loan. So even if you have somebody that's willing to spend that time, it's because they care.
Yeah. And that's
right?
a
It's
big
because they care. So that's discount points in a nutshell for you, Jen.
I got it. If anyone else is a little confused, reach out to Eliseo.
Yeah. Send me a text. Don't yell at me though. Please. Or you don't have to send me a text. Just as the youngins say, slip into my DMs.
Ew.
Is that not a
Do
good thing?
not say that
Okay.
ever again.
My bad.
Oh, I guess you could slip into the Bringing You Home podcast DMs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant your personal DMs.
I don't have one.
Oh,
So
okay.
I don't even know how to access it, but somebody does, and they'll get the information to me.
Yeah. That's true.
Well,
That's it.
Jen, what you got?
Office update.
Your favorite time of the podcast, right?
That is absolutely my favorite time of the podcast.
Is it
the
really?
office update. Yeah.
You're lying.
I know
You're
it
such
is.
a liar.
It is because I never know what you're gonna say, and I don't think you do either.
Yeah, you're right. You know what? But you did bring a good point. Yesterday Mauricio had a lunch and learn with realtors, so that was cool. He's keeping busy. He's doing his thing. He was so prepared. I stood in the front and had to tell all the realtors, "Are you here from Mauricio? It's to the right." And then Lorenzo went out and met with the client. Back to what you were saying, he actually took time out of his day, out of his work day to go meet with someone because that person wants that face to face. So he's doing his thing too.
Right?
I appreciate the hustle.
There is a hustle.
There is a hustle.
Yeah. Yesterday I walked in and everyone had a coat on.
It was so cold in
It
here.
was different,
It's
right?
it's now 70 degrees. And for us Californians, whenever the weather hits 70, like for me, I'm freezing. I have
Is
a
that why
coat
you have
on.
a turtleneck on?
Coat on, turtleneck.
We're in California.
I know, but
wanted to
anything
come in
below
shorts and
70 is
flip-flops.
not it for me.
Below
Really is not.
70.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. I'm not good with the cold weather. But
I did like that song Sweater Weather. That was a good song. I can't play it because of
lost me.
copyright laws.
You lost me.
Sorry. All right. Hey,
That's
can I
easy.
tell you a funny story?
If I say no, will you not tell it?
No, I'm gonna tell you. I think it's a great story. My daughter,
Yes.
I have a daughter. Oh, I just upgraded Zoom.
Oh. Are they gonna charge you?
Right? My daughter, she is going to a concert, the Harry Styles concert.
Yes.
She bought tickets
Yes.
through StubHub for $300.
Is that good?
Right? It seems like a boatload of money to me, but
You think so?
for Harry-
$300 each or both?
each for Harry Styles. She's going with 3 friends,
Oh.
and they got an email saying that the seller has decided not to sell their tickets. So they gave her the option of 3 other seats.
Yeah.
And she was in the 200 section. Now she's in the 100 section.
Oh.
And I looked on another site, and those tickets are going for almost $1,000.
So that's a good.
Dude.
That's really good.
Right? What a
Yeah.
come up! I'm telling her,
Yes,
sell it.
up.
I'm telling her, sell those babies.
No.
Yes,
No.
sell them, and then go buy the cheap ones again.
Oh, that's true.
Right?
But what if you don't find any? And what if that same thing happens to you?
You can find them.
Mhm.
They're all over the freaking
Yeah.
place. He's got like 42 concerts in LA
Oh, that's
in the
true.
next 3 weeks. This is ridiculous. Hey, Harry, if you're listening to me,
What is his
I have
song?
seen you, dude.
Coachella?
Watermelon Sugar. Oh no, that's Bruno Mars. No,
No, it is watermelon
it is
sugar.
Watermelon
Yeah.
Sugar.
No, he has another song. It's something about a sushi restaurant. And I was like, what kind of title is this?
I don't know, but hey, the youngins go crazy for Harry.
He is.
He's like One Direction. He's from One Direction.
One
right?
Direction. Yeah.
that's-
You know a lot about Harry Styles.
I do know a lot about Harry Styles. My
Well, I
daughter-
guess it's because you have a daughter.
and my daughter wanted a whole fit. She's never said this to me. My daughter's all, hey, can you help me go buy a fit for Harry Styles? I'm like, a fit for Harry Styles? Come on. You're like 16, dude.
You need a fit for all these outings.
I guess so. Anyhow, I'm tired of boring you all with my life.
I like that story.
You like
I
that
like
story?
a good come up.
There you go. It's a good come up.
Yeah.
And Fred, our security guard, what's the update?
He's
Talk
no
to-
longer he's not securing the building for 10 days.
For 10 days, he's not
He
security.
stopped me outside to tell me his whole life story, which I didn't mind because he came up too.
He did come
Yeah,
up.
he did. He had a flight leaving at 11 o'clock, which had a layover. Fred, if you're listening, don't think I forgot. I always listen to you, even if I look like I'm staring into space. But he had a layover, and then they changed his flight to 8 o'clock, and it was going to be a direct flight. So I figured that was good,
Shit.
right?
Fred deserved it.
Yes,
He deserved it.
You
So he's in
understand.
DC, right?
he's in DC.
He's in
yes.
DC. So
Not sure doing what.
President Biden, careful. All right. Anyhow,
He's protecting the president.
He
of
is
the
protecting. He's
United
like-
States.
he
I'm
thinks,
so honored to be in his building right now.
right? He's like Secret Service undercover. They don't even know he's there.
Last week of October.
Last week of October, that means Halloween's coming up,
Super excited.
right?
November, My
Scorpio month,
Scorpio season, exactly.
right?
Yep.
Jen's birthday is November 1st till November
30th.
30th. Right.
No, it's actually been since October 15th
Oh,
through November 30th.
yeah, there you go. You also already planned your vacations for 2023.
Yep.
So. All right, peoples,
This was a
thank
good
you
one.
for
Next
joining
time-
us.
next
Hopefully
week.
that was informative.
Next week will be
Next week will be
top tier
awesome.
episode, yep.
Awesome. We will actually prepare for next week.
we always prepare.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Take us away, Jen.
Bye.
Thank you all for tuning in. Glad we were able to provide you with some useful information while bringing a little joy to your lives. Like, subscribe, and share on all social media platforms. We want to interact with you by answering your questions and having you as part of the community. We look forward to bringing you home.